StrayAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how and why to create time. I could call it why and how to create time. Maybe I'll call it that. But that's what we're talking about here today. We're going to get into both of those in one order or another. But before we get started, I'm going to remind everybody I send out a text message every day, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. Also for the week, do the same thing for your week. I call them the daily motivation and the Monday motivation, respectively. You can receive those messages by being part of my text community. It is free to join. My number is 305-384-6894. Just send a text to that number. And when you text me, you will get a response that will give you some options as to how often you would like to hear from us, how often you want to get messages from us. You have your choices there. And then you'll be getting those messages based on your choice. Now, if you do not get an immediate response from us, it's because we still haven't fixed whatever technical glitches have been causing our text to not be going through the right way for a few weeks here. But hopefully by the time you hear this, I've been saying this, but hopefully by the time you hear this, we got that fixed. So just send a text to that number and you'll be in the text community. And if you don't get an immediate response, it's not because we're ignoring you. It's just because we're still working out some kinks and some issues on the tech side over there. With all that out of the way, the second point is Working Your Game University. This is the place where I do all my coaching. It's the only place I coach anyone. We have a 4-part framework based on mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability. So if you would like to be coached directly by me, you want someone to help you get to the money that you want to make in your business, make sure you have everything in place strategically, systematically, that you're being held accountable, and that you have the mindset to go out there and do what needs to be done in your business so you can get the outcomes you want, whether those are professional, certain goals you want to reach, whether it's personal, certain things you want to do for yourself and your family. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. If you've been listening to the show enough, then I think you have a pretty good idea of whether or not I could be the type of person who can help you. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com and we will take it from there. You can read about what our program does. You can schedule a time to get on a call with us completely free of charge. And we will talk about where you're at, where you want to go, and how we can help you get there. That out the way. Into the topic, how and why to create time. Now, you've been listening to this show enough. You probably heard me often talk about how time is the most valuable resource that you own. And even if you never heard me say that before, hear it now. Time is the most valuable resource that you own. And you need to make the most of the amount of time that you have available, understanding that your time is limited. And on top of it being limited, you don't even know how limited, because none of us knows how much time we have left. So understanding this, we need to have a lot of respect for time, and we need to make sure that we maximize our use of time, right? So today I'm going to explain to you how you can actually create time so that you at least have more of it than whatever you had before, still with the caveat you don't know exactly how much you have. You want to make sure that you are getting as much life out of the time that you do have as you can without knowing exactly how much you have remaining. All right, so with that out of the way, let's get into today's topic, which is, again, how and why to create time. Number one, why do you want to create time? Why does that matter to create time? Here's why it matters. Time is all we have. All right, if you plot and scheme to maximize on any resource, time should be the number one, because any other resource, no matter how much of it you accumulate, if you run out of time, then that resource no longer matters. See, most people try to maximize on things like money. It's a good idea to maximize on money because money gives you resources to do a lot of things that you otherwise could not do if you didn't have money, right? Because money gives you access, right? The challenge is, if you had more time and then use money as a secondary priority, that would be a better order of operations. Because if you have more time to get things done, then you'll have, of course, you got space to go ahead and create the money. But what if you go maximize on money and you get all this money, but then you run out of time because you never focused on maximizing on your time? So let's say you made $1 million, $100 million today, but then tomorrow you died. All right. Well, I mean, it's great that you got the $100 million. Maybe your family can eat off of it, but you don't get to enjoy not even a whole week of having made that money. You don't get to bask in the glory of having done it. You don't get to go help anybody else by telling them how you did it. You don't get anything out of it because you ran out of time. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing on the time first. And if you have more time, then, and combined with a sense of urgency, got to make sure I add that in there. Because just because you have a lot of time doesn't mean you should relax. When you have more time and a sense of urgency, you can get any other resource that you want, like money, happiness, achievements, trophies, followers, whatever it is that you want, whatever floats your boat and makes you feel accomplished. But you need time to do any of these things, and you want time to enjoy them after you get them. So it's not like you just want to use all your time to get them and then you drop dead. You want to use your time to get them and then to have some time to enjoy it after you did it, right? Because that's one of the reasons why we want to be successful, so we can enjoy the fact that we've created success. So that's why time comes first, okay? When you maximize on money and run out of time, then again, money becomes useless. You did all that work to get money, now your time's up. You were playing the game backwards. So time is always the number one priority. When you look at time as your number one priority, then it makes sense when and how to use money to achieve things faster. Right? You see how this works? So I'm not discounting the value of money. I'm an entrepreneur. I should probably be dumb of me as an entrepreneur to discount the value of money. Any entrepreneur who does that probably won't be an entrepreneur for long. So we do understand the value of money, but we use money to get ourselves more time. So whenever you pay money to someone who helps you or does a job for you instead of you doing it, or helps you do it faster than you would have done it yourself, you have effectively bought time. So when I go pay the pizza man to bring me a pizza, instead of me going to the grocery store buying dough and flour and tomato sauce and cheese and pepperoni, and then preparing the pizza and then putting it in the oven for on 350 degrees for 20 minutes, what I did was buy time. Because the pizza, they go make the pizza, they do all the work, they bring me the pizza, and I'll have a pizza in 20 minutes instead of me going to the grocery store, coming back. That might take me 45 minutes. Then actually preparing it and getting it into the oven, that might take me another half hour, and then the 20 minutes for it to cook. So what am I looking at here? We're looking at damn near 2 hours after it cools off and all of that, when I could have just had a pizza in 20 minutes. Now, there are some details involved in that. Who knows? Maybe I can make a higher quality pizza with higher quality ingredients. The simple point that I'm making here is you use money to buy time. You use money to achieve certain outcomes or to get certain things faster than you would get them if you had to do everything yourself. And the challenge with doing everything yourself is that you don't have enough hands or brains or eyeballs to do everything yourself. And as a human, you can only be in one place at a time. So this is why we use money. We use money as a resource to achieve things and to get things done and to move things along without us having to do it with our own physical abilities, or even with our own physical presence. So that's why it makes sense to use money to buy time. So that's why time is always the number one priority. So you would not throw away, but let's just say give away money in order to get more time. You don't give away time to get more money. Don't do that. That's the backwards way of doing it. If you're not familiar with just the overall principle of that, not using your money to buy time, then read Robert Kiyosaki's book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, where he explains that you want to create assets, like we talked about yesterday. You want to create assets to help put money in your pocket rather than just using yourself as the only asset. There are times you use yourself as an asset, and there are times I still use myself as an asset, meaning I use my physical presence and time to make money. But you don't want that to be the only way you make money, because then basically you put yourself on a treadmill that, as long as you have no bills to pay, you can never get off that treadmill, because you always got to use yourself in order to make money, and you always got to pay for stuff. So you want to make sure you have this equation right. So you can get things done more effectively using money than oftentimes than you would by using time, simply because no human being is great at everything. Most human beings are great at a number of things you can count on one hand, assuming that you have all 5 fingers. You probably don't need all 5. And how many things are there to do in life? Right? There are hundreds and thousands of things to do in life. If you're only good at the most 3, which my number is about 3, that most humans are good at 3 things, are the other 1,000 things that you're not good at, you should be using your time to get those done rather than you trying to learn those skills. Now, I'm not saying you can't develop them, but again, how much time do you have? Right? You can't do everything. And you should be spending the majority of your time on things that you're great at, because they produce a higher return than you putting time into something that you're just okay at. Right? If you're just okay at taking out the trash, how much money can you make taking out the trash? But if you're great at coaching people, you should probably put more time into coaching people than you do taking out the trash, or than you do any other task that you're taking up, that you're giving time to, but does not produce the highest ROI. This is how you strategize with how you're going to use your time. And I talk about this in my 25 hours course that you can get inside of Work on Your Game University. Secondly, we're talking here today, why and how to create time. Here's the second point. Use your resources to make things easier for others. Now, you want to create time, this is what you do. Any of you wants to create time, this is how you do it. Use your resources to make things easier for other people. So that's what I'm doing actually when I do this show every day. I'm using my resource, which is my knowledge, experience, insights, opinions, perspectives. I'm sharing them here on this show. So it becomes a resource because I'm making myself a resource, and material that I create through myself, like this becomes a recording. So I don't have to say it every time that somebody hears it. So if 20,000 people listen to this episode, I don't have to say it 20,000 times. I can say it one time and 20,000 different people can get it. We have distribution. So I'm using my resource of my knowledge, perspective, experience, etc., my thoughts, and I'm making the game easier for you by explaining to you something that maybe you hadn't considered in this way, or you hadn't thought of deploying it in this way. And now you're getting better because of what I'm sharing. All right? That's a way that I create time, and I'll explain to you how. So when you share knowledge, connections, resources, contacts, experiences with other people, how does that connect to today's topic? Doing this saves other people time, right? So if I save you time by explaining to you something about how to use AI in your business, or how do you get a book written, or how can you set your business up legally to maximize your returns, like when you do your taxes, and you can write more stuff off on taxes so you can save money on that bill every year. When I give you that information, right, and that helps you, how is that helping me? Well, we all understand the law of the universe, right? The law of the universe states what? That what you give, you get. That the energy you put out is the energy that you get back. Almost everyone I've ever asked agrees with that principle, that when you put certain energy out, you're going to get certain energy back. Some of you call this karma, or you just call it the law of the universe. What goes out comes back. When you help other people get better, smarter, more effective, richer, happier, or anything else that they want, because there are lots of things that people want, what you are doing is making deposits into your success bank account. Okay, so this is an intangible that I'm giving you here, but I want you to understand that this manifests itself in a tangible way. So you giving to other people and helping them get better is a deposit you're making into a success bank account. And eventually what happens is the more you deposit into that account starts producing interest. So this is not a normal bank account that gives you like 0.05% interest. This kind of bank account gives you some real interest. This is kind of like a certificate of deposit where you may get 10, 12, 15, 20% interest on whatever you're putting in there. So you're getting a lot more money out of every dollar that you put in. So the more you deposit, the more money you're going to get back. This allows you to create more success for yourself. That those interest dividends, that is the success that you get. So in other words, the more you help other people, the more you will be helped. This is a paraphrasing of what Zig Ziglar, famous professional speaker and salesperson Zig Ziglar, used to say. You help other people get what they want, you get everything that you want. So how are you helping other people? What are you doing to deposit into other people's success? You should come up with ways to do this on a consistent, ideally every single day basis. Because if you're always making deposits into an account, like just think about it. If you had an account that's giving you a really great interest rate, like any of you listen to this who has a bank account and you know what the interest rate is on that bank account, you might not even know because it's so small that it doesn't even damn matter. But let's say you had a bank account that was offering you 50% interest. They're offering you a 50% interest rate. So whatever money you put in there, they give you interest, let's say every month or every year or however often they're going to do it. They're going to give you in cash 50% of whatever amount you have deposited in that bank. Well, how much money would you put into that bank account? You probably put every dollar you had into that bank account. You would try to go get more money and put as much as you could into that bank account always, every day. Why? Because you're making money on every dollar that you put in. That's the exact same concept that I'm giving you here when I say help other people get better. Every time you help another person improve and get better, you help them do better through what your resource gave them. You are making a deposit into this account that's going to pay you back. And this is why I say you want to find a way to do this consistently. Ideally, do it every day. So if you have a YouTube channel, put videos out every day. You're a writer, write something every day. You're a podcaster, put your podcast out every day. Or if you don't want to put it out every day, just find a way to get your message to reach new people every day. You can make a video once a week on YouTube. You just need to find that one day that your video didn't come out, you need to be working on ways to make sure the message from that video that came out on Monday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're still doing things to make sure people saw that video for Monday. So it doesn't have to be something new every day, but every day you need to be doing something that allows you to get your resources, whatever they may be, in front of other people who need them that can help you move yourself forward. This is what I talked about in episode 1835. We talked about the different methods of marketing for business. And actually, make sure, episode 1835, which is the 3 marketing traffic strategies and how to use each. You have content, which is like this episode here. You have advertisements, which all of you know what those are. And there's collaboration. That's when you work with other people who already have an audience and you get your message in front of their audience and maybe they get their message in front of yours. That's collaboration. So every day you should be looking to do all 3 of those. All right? When you have a healthy, mature business, you want to have a mix of doing all 3 of these. And over here at Working Again, we do all 3. We do marketing, which is not marketing, excuse me. I'm talking about 3 forms of marketing. We do content, which is free stuff like this. The show comes out literally every day. So if I just did this, there's the content. We do ads, so that's paying money to get your message in front of other people, and also collaboration. I often reach out to other people. Every day we do something to reach out to other people who already have an audience that is somehow aligned with my message. And I figure out a way. I try to plot and scheme ways that I can connect with that person who has that audience so I can get my message in front of that audience, because I know some of the people in that audience could become customers for my stuff. But I had to get access to that audience because it's not mine. So that's a collaboration. So every day you want to be doing stuff like that, because all these are deposits. I'm making deposits into these accounts, and these accounts are going to pay me back. But understand, folks, that these are investments, which means you don't always get an immediate return. It doesn't happen immediately. So you have to accept the concept of delayed gratification. You're not always going to get an immediate payback. Just because you did some work today doesn't mean that you plant some seeds today doesn't mean you're going to have a full garden tomorrow, right? You can't plant an apple tree on Monday and expect to have a whole bunch of juicy, fresh, organic apples on Wednesday. All right, it takes a little bit of time for the tree to build itself up and to produce fruit, but you must tend to it while it's in the process of doing that. Okay, so again, some of you call this karma. Everybody agrees with it. This is essentially what entrepreneurship is about. The more value you give to other people, the more value you create and get for yourself. So this harkens back to the episode I did a few weeks ago when I explained that entrepreneurship is the number one way to, let me find that episode, because when I made that episode, I was responding to something that I heard somebody say, which was very wrong, about how entrepreneurship works and how entrepreneurs are the highest level of service there is. That was episode number 2754. So a few weeks back, episode 2754, entrepreneurship and business is the highest level of service that there is. Because someone was trying to say, well, if you're running a for-profit business, you're only serving yourself, which makes no sense whatsoever. The only way you can make money in business is by serving someone else. It's the only reason they'll give you money. So again, this is usually comes from people who know nothing about business and how money works. Often these people, no offense to anyone here for whom this shoe fits, but often these people are career academics who spend all their time in academia, and they think that the number of books they read, number of degrees they accumulate makes them smart, when it actually makes them stupid, because the more they talk, the more you realize how little they know about how the real world works, because they're in their own bubble. Entrepreneurship ain't no bubble. Entrepreneurship is the jungle. And if you don't kill anything, you die. All right. You watch National Geographic, you see it. So again, listen to episode 2754. You want to learn more about that. Only way you can make money as an entrepreneur is by giving value to other people who are willing to give you money in exchange for it. If anyone knows how to make money as an entrepreneur other than that, tell me what it is, because I will gladly start using it if there's another way. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how and why to create time. Here's more of the how. Energy of abundance. What does this mean? Energy of abundance. Since time eventually runs out for everybody, we want to be as abundant as possible with the time that we do have. What that means is, of course, being urgent about the time that you have. Also means over-delivering and being abundant in your giving. I don't necessarily mean giving of your time, but in your giving of your value. Value is relative to the person that you're helping. All right? Teaching someone how to dribble is relative value, because someone who doesn't want to play basketball, that teaching them how to dribble probably means nothing to them. But someone who's 13 years old and trying to make their high school team next year, it is invaluable to them. So value is based on who you are serving and how much they want or need what you're offering. So value is not the same for me as it is for you, because we have different needs at different times in life. So you need to identify the people who actually need what you're offering, and you need to be urgent about getting in front of them and giving them as much value as you can. That's what I mean by saying abundant. So being over delivering in that abundance. And stop thinking transactionally with the people with whom you deal. Everything is not transactional. See, the pot that you give from is the same pot that you will receive in. So if you're cheap in your giving, you'll be cheap in your receiving. So pay full price. When there's something that you want to buy, don't try to get a discount. Pay full price, whatever the full price may be. Give extra when extra is warranted. Reward others for a job well done. Someone does a job well done, reward them for doing a good job. The energy of abundance can be boiled down to one phrase, folks. There's more where that came from. There's a guy named Michael Hyatt, who I heard say this. He's the first person I heard use this phrase consistently. He used it in this context, that you don't have to be a scarcity thinker in the things that you do in life. Your mindset should be, there's more where that came from. Meaning anything that you give, you know that there's always more that you can go get. So thinking this way consistently becomes a way of being, and it begins to reflect in your actions. And as long as you believe that there is always more, with respect to the fact that time is the only exception. The only thing that there's not more is time. There's always more money, there's more energy, there's more attention, there's more all of that. But time is the only one where there's not more. All right, so that's the only exception. But everything else, there's more where that came from. And when you think like this, you will not only generate, but radiate abundance in your life. It's an energy. And money is an energetic item, let's say, for lack of a better term. There's an energetic charge to money. There's an energetic charge to wealth. Robert G. Allen talks about this in his book, Creating Wealth, is that wealth is not a thing that you create. Wealth is something that exists in the mind. It's a way of thinking, it's a way of being, it's a way of living. So this is why I'm preaching here abundance in this third point. Point number 4, today's topic once again is how and why to create time. Number 4, look for the shortcuts. Now, when I say shortcuts, they're not really shortcuts. I kind of mean this in a tongue-in-cheek way. Shortcuts are the ways that you can achieve things faster than by sheer force and effort, which is what most people do whenever they're trying to achieve anything. They just say, how can I work harder? How can I give more effort to achieve it? That's usually not the most efficient way to achieve anything. Sometimes a shortcut might not look like a shortcut when it actually is a shortcut. For example, learning some how-to process from someone who's already been where you're going, rather than figuring it all out on your own, is a shortcut. Now, the reason it may not look like a shortcut is because you're going to have to pay that person. You got to go into their program. You got to do whatever it is that they're telling you to do. So it doesn't look like a shortcut. But if you were to do it, it would take you 10 times longer. So relatively speaking, it is a shortcut because you're going to get there in a much shorter time than had you tried to do everything on your own. That is a shortcut. So sometimes people don't notice shortcuts because they're dressed up as you still have to do work. All right. And anything that's worthwhile for achieving in life, there's work involved. All right. There's nothing you can achieve that doesn't require work. I'm sorry if any of you have been sold on that concept, but it doesn't exist. And anybody trying to preach that to you or teach that to you, they're lying to you. They're a charlatan, and they're just trying to get money out of you by telling you something that makes you feel good, but it's not going to help you do good. So if you want to learn how to swim, for example, you could go and play around in the pool by yourself and possibly drown in the process, or you could hire a swim coach and let them cut your learning curve in half and keep you alive at the same time. And you'll develop the skill. All right, that is a shortcut. So even though you had to pay the coach, what did you do in that process? You used your money to buy time. All right, you see how all this stuff connects. You would not have gotten to that same outcome at the same pace had you done it on your own. And unfortunately, many people live with a scarcity mindset and try to do everything on their own, even when they don't have the skill to do it. So they try to do stuff by themselves because they have the scarcity mindset of, I don't want to give up my money in order to get things done faster. I'd rather do it slower and hold on to my money, when what you should do is be abundant in your spending and hold on to your time. See, this is where people get it backwards. They rather hold on to money and just use all their time to get something done, rather than hold on to time and use all your money to get something done, which is what you should do. And what happens is, when people do this, you try to use your time instead of using your money, you're consigning yourself to failure. Because first of all, eventually you're going to run into something that you're not good enough at, and it's going to take you way too long to get it done, if you get it done at all, and you'll generally fail at it. And trust me, I've had enough conversations with enough people who resorted to I'll try to do it on my own. They didn't have the skill to do it on their own. They ended up failing, and they ended up never achieving the outcome because they had the wrong formula. I want to hold on to the money and use up all my time. That's an inaccurate formula, folks. If you find yourself using that formula, you are setting yourself up to fail, if you are not failing already. Often people think this way, they're already failing because they didn't just come up with this idea out of nowhere. You've been thinking like this for years. That's why you're failing, because you're trying to use your time instead of using your money. Use money to buy time. Okay, money is replenished every day. Time is not. So just keeping that in mind should help you make better decisions about what investments to make and what investments not to make. That out the way. Let's recap today's class, which is how and why to create time. You know that time is the most valuable resource you have. So let's talk about why you want to create it and then how exactly do you do it. Number one, time is all we have. If you plot and scheme to maximize on any resource, you must plot and scheme on time first. It is the number one priority when it comes to your resources. There is no resource even close to equal to time, not money. Money is not even close to being equal to time. Again, a rich person who dies, how much can they enjoy that money? None. But a poor person with a lot of time, they can become rich. Okay, and that's what you want. You need time. So that's why you want to maximize on time. Even though you don't control how much time you have left, you can maximize on time by making sure you squeeze as much life as possible out of every minute that you do have. This requires you having a sense of urgency and a clear game plan as to what the hell you are doing in your life so you don't waste time figuring it out. Point number two, use your resources to make things easier for others. This is an abundance mindset. The more you give, the more you will get. Now, imagine you had a bank account that's paying you 50% interest. You will put as much money as you could in there. That's the pot that's what deposits you're making when you're giving value to other people. That's why you need a way of doing it every day. Number three, the energy of abundance. When you give with abundance, you shall receive with abundance. This is the law of karma, the law of the universe that everyone agrees with. Why so few people actually exercise what they agree with, I don't understand. We may have to do a whole other episode on that. But since all of you agree with the law of karma, you need to start giving as if you agree with it. Number four, look for the shortcuts. And again, these are not really shortcuts. What they really are ways for you to achieve certain outcomes faster and more effectively than you would have achieved them on your own through using other people's knowledge, skills, money, experiences, etc. It doesn't mean you may not need to invest time, money, effort into doing it, but the time, money, effort you invest into working with someone else who already has something figured out will be 10% of the time what it took you to do it all by yourself who does not have it figured out. That's where the smartness of this whole game plan, this whole strategy comes into effect. And it's also where many people expose themselves, being unwilling to invest in themselves using their finances. They rather invest in themselves with time. The problem is you invest time into something in which you have no knowledge. All you're going to do is use up a bunch of time and still not achieve the outcome. All right, that's a bad formula. That's a very inaccurate formula that you should not use. You find yourself using that, fix it immediately. This is a scarcity mindset that people have when they have a scarcity mindset around money, but they are frivolous with time. You want to be the opposite. I'd rather you be frivolous with money and have scarcity of mindset about time, because that's exactly how life actually is designed, where money gets replenished and remade every day. Time does not. Time does not get replenished and remade for anyone any day ever. So that's the one you better be urgent about. And that's the one you should hold on to as closely and as tightly as possible. With all that out the way, make sure you text me so you're in my community. My number is 305-384-6894. And workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's the place where I do all my coaching, the only place to work with me directly. Things that I'm talking about here today, things you heard me say on other episodes of this show. You want to get your business in the right place. You want to make sure your personal life is tight to support the business. You want to make the type of money that you have been telling yourself that you want to make for years, and then you're ready to seriously actually get to it. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link down below in the description. Work on your game. Dre, all